Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. 6 a.m. here in California. As a reminder, I have two YouTube channels now. I have the Detox Dudes and I have Joshua Mason. The Detox Dudes I will be phasing out in the next coming weeks, so please go over to Joshua Mason, consider subscribing, push the notification bell, and start watching videos on that channel so we can start boosting the algorithm over there. This video is about the edge. David Deida speaks a lot about the edge in his books, specifically The Way of the Superior Man. And one of the best summaries of the edge is as follows. In any given moment, a man's growth is optimized if he leans just beyond his edge, his capacity, his fear. He should not be too lazy, happily stagnating in the zone of security and comfort, nor should he push far beyond his edge, stressing himself unnecessarily, unable to metabolize his experience. He should lean just slightly beyond the edge of fear and discomfort constantly in everything that he does. So another example is lions, right? Or any wild animal for that matter. When you see a lion in nature, in the wild, that lion is so beautiful. That lion is in his prime. And that lion is up against massive forces of nature. It's up against the elements, the heat, the sun, the night, not being able to see, not being able to know when other predators or enemies may be near, not knowing where the hyenas are. There's a constant edge that a lion is surfing in nature, and that edge actually creates an experience of that lion being in his prime. And in that experience in nature, tomorrow is uncertain, the next hour is uncertain, the next meal is uncertain. There's a constant razor's edge that lion is surfing, so to speak. Similarly, if you took that same lion and put him in the zoo, that lion is going to be miserable. You'll see it on his face, you'll see it on his fur, right? You'll see it in his tail and his musculature. That lion is going to lose his edge. He's going to have everything delivered to him, food, water. He's got visitors coming and saying hi, fresh batch of visitors every single day, and that lion will be miserable. Disease, unhappiness, sickness is going to be what prevails in a zoo environment. So humans, like lions, need risk, that we need opposing force in order to thrive. One experience I had before I started the Spirit of a Man, actually, it was the reason I started the Spirit of a Man. I was in Tulum, Mexico. I had tons of financial abundance. I had an amazing woman that I, at that point in time, was with for I think 6 months or so. I had clients, I had all this amazing food, amazing supplements. My health was in good order, aside from a short bout of COVID. And I would wake up every single morning feeling completely drained. I was feeling completely off of my edge. I was feeling completely not alive. And the reason is because I had created this life around me where I could do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. I had rarely any restrictions other than COVID restrictions, or the fact that I didn't have a private jet or really couldn't afford to fly private wherever I wanted. But other than those restrictions, I could do whatever I wanted. I can go to any restaurant, I could go to any country, I could travel. I had sex, I had love, I had a woman, I had clients, and I was still unhappy. Why? It was because I lost my edge. I was so focused on creating freedom for myself, on creating the ability to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted, to have that power and that authority. I was no happier. I was no happier. I was even more lost than ever before, because I lost that opposing force, that edge, that opponent of life that I was dancing with for many years prior. When you may have even seen my YouTube channel where I was filming every 2 days, every 3 days, there was a force, right? And I got it back, not to worry, I got it back. But what's happening today for all people, not just men, but specifically men, too much freedom and too much digital stimulation and too much domestication, where we have whatever we want, whenever we want, order Amazon, order food, order pizza, get everything we want delivered to our door. It actually makes us sleepy, desensitized and numb. All of this stimulation non-stop with the YouTube and the Instagram and Twitter and all of this stuff, and especially digital stimulation, it actually makes us desensitized. So we have more, we have more pleasure available to us everywhere we look, any second of the day, and we are actually experiencing the least amount of pleasure than ever before because we are desensitizing ourselves. So the art of the edge is one has to find their own edge. One has to be really honest with themselves about where their weak spots are, about where their edge is, and we never judge the edge. One man's edge could be to go say hello to the woman at the grocery store, and Tony Robbins' edge is to speak to 300,000 people at the same time and rock their fucking lives and blow their minds for, you know, the $5 million that he made that day, right? And so every man has his edge. We don't judge like better or worse or compare or say, you know, this person's better because their edge is here. Everyone has their journey, their timeline, and their path. And the art of the edge is to find your edge, to be really honest with yourself, and to surf it. The alternative experiences to being honest with yourselves and surfing it are moving far beyond your edge in sort of an alpha machismo accomplishment character, where you actually are just on this incessant grind. A lot of times it takes the shape in physical form. Like you can look at someone like, I'm just gonna hate on, part of my new YouTube channel is I'm just gonna publicly hate on some public figures. But like David Goggins, right? Like David Goggins is a perfect example of someone who, I mean, he's got a lot of good wisdom and he's, you know, he's a sharp dude, but he's an example of someone who is moving far beyond his edge and not actually digesting or metabolizing his experience, his fear, his beingness. It's more of like a machismo fighter alpha sort of overlay.
I feel my legs starting to hurt. I started feeling dehydrated. Started feeling sorry for myself. Started looking around. No one knows I'm fucking out here running. Why don't you go ahead and just stop? Call your girl, have her pick you up. And that's when I feel like a little bitch. And this is when your mind has to fucking change. You gotta start thinking, I'm the greediest motherfucker in the world. Your dehydration? Fuck it. Lick your motherfucking lips.
On top of the core naked human experience that we can't avoid. Like we are all very, very vulnerable creatures. David Goggins is not going to tell you that he's vulnerable, but he is. Underneath that character is an immense vulnerability, right? Is an immense nakedness, right? Every man is seconds away from a completely different life, whether it be a car accident or loss of money or, you know, like it sounds funny, but like a knife literally requires like 4 pounds of pressure to cut through human skin, right? And we're these invincible creatures, like invulnerable, invincible alpha creatures. Are you kidding me? We're vulnerable, right? And so that overriding of the human experience and losing and overstepping the edge in attempts to avoid feeling fear or avoid feeling emotions or feeling oneself or avoid feeling the wound of being a human, right? That's one way. The other way is to be a witness or like a bystander to your own life, where you constantly see things that you should be doing, or you're just watching YouTube all day or witnessing yourself in life. You're in the stands watching the game of life and you're not pushing any boundary. You stay comfortable. Maybe you have your 40-hour work week and you stay comfortable, you drink your beer, you watch TV at the end of the workday, and you're comfortable, and that's it, and that's your life. And you grow, you know, every couple of years you get your raise, right? So that's a man afraid to surf his edge, right? And then the other extreme is a man penetrating far beyond his edge and losing the essence, soul essence, losing emotional essence, losing presence. Again, every man's edge is different. You want to find your edge and surf it. And the ultimate way of doing this is with other men. See, it's way more trustable. A man is way more trustable and valuable to, let's say, a tribe if he is honest with his fears, honest with his edge. A man who's not honest with his edge, even if he's accomplishing a lot, is less trustable than a man truly on his edge who's making less money or fucking less women or less sexy or less jacked, right? A man on his edge is going to be way more trustable because he's honest with himself, right? So find your edge and surf it. Some men need to go out and hunt and make more money. Some men need to slow down and go internal and cry. Some men need to do jujitsu and learn how to fight. Some men need to learn how to love, learn how to make love, learn how to open their heart. Some men need to lose weight. Everyone has their edge. Where nobody is perfect. Everybody is a mess somewhere, and we all have arenas to work on and deep-seated fears that we need to look at and penetrate. And so, again, some men need to find softness inside of themselves. Some men need to find their predator, the killer inside of themselves. In today's time is that money and comfort takes us away from our edge. With money, with a lot of money, you could buy your way off of the edge, right? You could take the limos, you could take the private planes, you go out to the best restaurants, you can, seduce all these women because of your, stature, your social stature. And you can buy your way out of a lot of problems, right? Like money has the ability to buy your way out of pain sometimes. But there's no free lunch in this world. Anytime you're using money as your crutch, and I've done it before, I did it for almost a year and a half, okay, before I realized that this is not the way of being. This is not the way for being in my prime and being at my best. A lot of men rest on their money, they rest on their accomplishments, they rest on their laurels, and they stop surfing their edge. And they go into that world of comfort and pleasures, and they stop feeling the edge, right? So with money, you can buy your way out of the edge. But again, there's no free lunch. You lose something with that exchange. You lose you being in your prime. You lose you being in connection with God, with the divine, with natural order of spirit, of the edge, of nature. Nature is on the edge, always. You watch even the ants here that are crawling all over me, and the bugs and the birds and the trees. Everything is in competition, on the edge, fighting, at war, prey, predator, right? And that's what makes life, that competition. Find your edge and surf it. Be honest with yourself, be honest with your brothers. You are way more trustable on your edge than you are a millionaire who has lost his edge, right? You are way more valuable to your tribe on your edge than you are wealthy lying to yourself. So I've fallen for all of these traps myself. That's why I talk about it. There's no judgment. And yeah, leave a comment below. Please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, push the notification button. There's a little bell there so that you get notified when I make these videos. And I am so happy to be back alive and on my edge. Leave a comment below with what you think. I read every single comment. I may not answer to all of them, but I read every single one. Okay? Ciao.